It was evening, right after nap time, when Sun awoke out of his nap-time slumber. He was confused. It was still dark. Even stranger, why was he awake and not his moon half? It took the machine a while to realize where he was. It was a crate. Immediately he panicked. Was he being scrapped? What did he do to deserve this? He began banging his fists against the wood, grunting and groaning in fear, until finally a familiar voice called out, "Hey, stop that!" That voice. It was Brian, the day shift security guard. Sun spouted angry nonsense that was still in accordance to his profanity filter, of course. Despite the awful circumstances he found himself in. But eventually, even the daycare attendant gave up on childish things like fighting a battle he would not win. So he returned to simple sobbing, which was the guard's cue to speak up. "Hey, look." He knocked on the crate's wood. "Listening to me? Alright. I said this only once." He barked. The animatronic didn't reply, but lowered the volume of his sobs. "Good boy," he mused. "We went into some legal trouble. Apparently the artistic depictions of you are a little too unrepresentative." Sun's head spun. He found that his advertisements were very much accurate to his actual appearance. "The higher-ups are deciding to change the advertisements with you. You know, it's less expensive to have them changed rather than just outright replace you." The daycare attendant shifted and made Brian promise 4 times that he wasn't getting scrapped. In the meantime, the man lifted the crate onto a roller and began pushing Sun towards the delivery exit. For some time, it was quiet. To not run out of juice for this photo shooting, daycare attendant had placed himself into a limited sleep mode. This meant he could vaguely make out what was happening around him, like shapes, changes in light through the cracks of the box. What he was able to notice was the mild drizzle outside. The machine hoped, for the sake of his circuits, that he would be transported inside a proper truck to the outside location. Eventually, after being left alone with his thoughts for so long, he felt the box being lifted. It wasn't Brian, that was clear by the man's grunts, which made the robot feel uneasy. Yet he understood why Brian couldn't be with him all the way. Sun and the security guard didn't always see eye to eye, but the man had proven himself many times that he worked well with kids, and that alone made Sun so incredibly happy that he saw Brian as a good person. A person he would defend, even if it led to him being verbally abused by the man. Of course, Brian himself wasn't malicious. To him, the animatronics were just that, machines. That more often than not were inconvenient, specifically to him. And he showed that in the treatment of them, when no customers were nearby. Luckily, his loyalty to Fazbear Entertainment made it so he never actually tampered with any machine. In other words, it was tolerated by both co-workers and animatronics alike. Eventually, Sun's box was placed on something dark and cold, which soon began to vibrate. A delivery truck. A proper one. Honestly, Sun didn't know how long the drive took. Mostly due to his limited sleep mode. What he did notice was that the box was being lifted once more, and that he was being carted. His head made an excited spin as he reactivated himself in anticipation. Meanwhile, you sat in your photo studio, going through your advertising backgrounds. You were a talented photographer, having worked yourself from adult photography up to the big guys, corporate advertisement. Now, you not only made double what you did before, you also didn't need to feel jealous of the people who were doing those lewd acts in front of you as you took professional pictures of them. However, a week ago you read an email inquiring of your services. A photo shoot with a Fazbear Entertainment animatronic. As an avid Freddy Fazbear fan, you immediately jumped to the occasion. So you had ample room in your schedule for this valued client. What you didn't know was the fact that you weren't chosen for your talent, but for your price. It was incredibly low, at least compared to what others wanted. Thankfully, you didn't know that. That probably would have encouraged you, or at the very least made you raise your prices. Some bored-looking fellow who spoke in grunts had placed a wooden box in the middle of your studio. He left after signing a few papers. And now, you were alone in your studio with whatever was inside that ominous box. Slowly, you approached the crate. According to the delivery man, the guy that spoke in grunts, the object for the shooting was inside. With a shaking hand, you knocked against the wood. Hello? It was quiet for a second. And then, the top of the crate burst open, almost giving you a heart attack. As you fell backwards on your butt, the animatronic jumped outside, revealing itself.
Hello? Are you my new friend?
Are you the photographer?
Are you the one that will make me look pretty?
You blinked. Why was he shouting at you? The machine's facial plate spun around in a circle. Twice, before the robot continued speaking.
You're a quiet one, aren't you? That's okay. I can talk for the both of us.
You blinked. I just...
Huh?
You were so confused. Excitedly, the animatronic grabbed you. Blushing, you helplessly kicked as he walked you over to a chair, where he proceeded to forcefully sit you down. Then he knelt down next to you.
You look truly frightened,
he said with concern.
Do you need to sit down?
You were already sitting, thanks to him. You had difficult customers before, but this was something new entirely. Quickly you realized what the contract meant with Fazbear Entertainment is not responsible for manglings and limb losses. But you were a professional. Damn it. Plus, you were a regular at the Pizzaplex. You knew that talking to the robots like they were robots only led to them being more annoying, as they were programmed to try even harder to convince you that they actually felt emotions and stuff. This was going to be difficult. You raised a finger to make the machine stop rambling. He looked at you like a needy pet, ready to receive treats. Oddly adorable. Proving your ability of quick thinking, you put a friendly smile on your face, saying hello first, and then your name, before then giving a proper instruction. Yes, you're right. I am your photographer, and, I was just a little surprised. The robot's face spun again, in response to what he saw as very kind I didn't expect you to have so much energy. You gave a helpless smirk, hoping the machine would like it.
Oh, I understand.
You blinked. Do you? You were really skeptical.
You need to calm down. Do you have finger pains? Finger pains are very meditational.
The two of you were in a photo studio. Of course there were no finger paints. I don't have any finger paints here. Disappointed, he let his head hang low.
Oh, do you like glitter glue? Look!
He demonstrated by squirting a little of the translucent, glittery adhesive out of one of his fingers. That would leave a stain in your carpet, you thought. But you had to admit, it wasn't too dissimilar to other stains you had gotten in your carpets over the years, considering what you worked as before. Well, my introduction is over, you said helplessly. So who are you? The robot proudly slammed a fist into his chest.
I am the daycare attendant, currently set in day mode.
He started.
You can call me Son. I'm often also referred to as Sundrop by the younger children who think I share the name of my sun-themed candy. The Sundrop candy. You've probably heard of that.
You nodded. I see. Well, son, do you know why you are here?
You are going to take pretty pictures of me. Then you make them even prettier.
The robot began to happily dance. You nodded. Yes, very good. You could see why they needed help advertising this guy. But you could deal with this. You dealt with children before. Okay. Son, you said after a moment of thought and only a tad bit of hesitation. Would you like to waddle for me then?
Oh, do I? Yes. I want to.
You gave him a quick, happy nod. Great. You pointed at your green screen. Please, take a position there. The robot strutted over there and began making weird poses that oddly felt like references to a certain anime you like to watch. Probably an Easter egg programmed into him for the entertainment of parents. You took your camera and got into position. The company had given you specific instructions on what kind of pictures they wanted, the backgrounds you were supposed to use, and, most importantly, what poses the animatronic should take. As a matter of fact, you were so limited in your creativity with this project that, outside of filters and some Photoshop magic to make the animatronic look less threatening, you really had no power here. Thankfully, that's exactly what you were good at. Following exact instructions. Because of that, the photo shoot itself actually went by fairly quick. Carefully you explained to the daycare attendant what poses you needed off of him, while also taking a few of the weird anime poses he occasionally took. To humor him and to put into the files you'd later send to Fazbear Entertainment, free of charge, were these anime pose pictures, of course. Mostly in the vain hope that they would actually use them. Hopefully. And also, hopefully, this would not come off as unprofessional. Picture after picture was taken, and it was fun working with a freely posable model. Sun wasn't limited to human anatomy. So poses like the one where he would lean very far back while giving a thumbs up were possible, where humans would probably get some spinal damage, or at the very least fall down through lack of balance. It was so much fun.
I like you,
he said eventually, throwing you out of your concentration. What? You blinked in confusion. Taking this opportunity, he left his position in front of your green screen.
I said I like you. You're so much more fun. more fun than messing with Brian!
You smiled softly at him. He was right in your face, and shouting right into your ears. Tilting your head, you now noticed just how well polished his faceplate was. Blushing, you simply blooped his nose with a finger, and your eyes widened when it made a squeaky toy noise. The robot jumped up and down.
I love it when people press my buttons! I love it when they press my buttons!
He sang. Seeing this, your heart jumped. It was hard not to get infected by this crackhead. You sighed happily. Okay. Go back into position. You giggled. Your photo shoot was over within the span of just 2 hours. Honestly, it didn't even feel like that. After you were done, however, the delivery people still hadn't returned yet. So you and Sun had some time to kill together. You sat down in front of your work PC as you began editing the photos to be as professional and attractive as possible. He was right behind you, carefully ogling your work.
You make me look so nice!
Well, that's my job, you answered honestly. You looked at him and smiled.
Oh, you make me so happy!
He shouted before quickly wrapping his arms around your body. You blushed, instinctively melting into his touch.
Warm, warm, warm,
he repeated, and you furrowed your brows. What do you mean, son?
Oh, you are so warm! I love it!
You smiled softly into him. Didn't realize you're such a cuddlebug, Sonny. His head turned.
Did you just call me Sonny?
You blinked. Yes? Was I not supposed to do that? He took a step back and looked at you straight in the eyes.
I love it!
Thank God, you thought.
I love you,
he said suddenly. Well, that was a bit quick. You weren't used to love confessions being done in like 2 hours.
You're the best friend I ever had!
Internally you sighed in relief. Thankfully, you were in the friend zone. But considering the type of machine he was, he probably said that to a lot of people. But for now, why not enjoy it while it lasted? I love you too, Sonny, you said with a smirk. Come here, you big baby. You spread out your arms and he huddled into you. Despite his plastic shell, and despite him being a big-ass robot, this was incredibly comforting. You understood why someone like him would be in a daycare. You rubbed your cheeks against his faceplate.
I hope,
he whispered,
I get to have a photo shooting with you soon again. I really like working with you.
You hummed.
Oh! How about you come to the pizza place from time to time?
Smiling, you replied, I'm already a regular. I promise. From now on, whenever I come, I visit the daycare, just to pay you a visit. I promise. He purred, like a cat. How cute.
Oh.